Welcome to Chilling Chatter, where we bring you the most bone-chilling, spine-tingling horror stories that will keep you up at night. I was a teenager when I first began questioning what happens after we die. The idea of non-existence terrified me, and I started to believe that religion was just a way to cope with that fear. After all, how could consciousness exist without a brain? At the time, my mother, sister, and I lived in an old house divided into two apartments. We occupied the second floor, and the creaky wooden structure made it easy to hear every movement, every step, every door creaking open, every shuffle in the night. One evening, my mother and I sat in the living room, waiting for my sister to come home from work. The air was thick with the warmth of the television's glow, the rhythmic hum of a late-night talk show filling the room. Then, out of nowhere, I blurted out, "I don't believe in ghosts." My mother barely had time to react. Before we heard it, the front door downstairs creaked open. Heavy footsteps, slow, deliberate, echoed up the staircase. Each step groaned under the weight of something, someone. I glanced at my mother, feeling the shift in the air, the sudden drop in temperature, the tightening in my chest. She stared back, wide-eyed, lips slightly parted. "Oh, that must be my sister," I muttered, my voice weaker than I intended. We both listened as the footsteps reached the top of the stairs. Then crash, something fell inside our apartment. I jumped to my feet, my heart hammering in my chest. Rushing to the hallway, I yanked open the door. Empty. The hallway stretched before me, silent, untouched. My sister wasn't there. No one was. The door at the bottom of the stairs remained firmly shut. The outside world was still, as if holding its breath. I swallowed hard, my pulse thrumming in my ears. Stepping cautiously forward, I searched the apartment. The hairs on the back of my neck bristled. Then I saw it. An angel figurine, one my mother had hung above the door, had fallen to the floor. The nail it had rested on was still intact, untouched. I turned back to my mother, my breath shallow. "There's no one here," I whispered. She looked at the fallen angel, then back at me, her face pale. "The thing you said about ghosts," she murmured. "Never say that again." A deep, unnerving chill settled in my bones. In that moment, I knew we weren't alone, and we never had been. That night, sleep evaded me. Every little sound made my skin prickle with dread. The floorboards creaked as though unseen feet wandered the halls. The shadows in the corners of my room seemed darker, thicker, shifting when I wasn't looking. Then, just as my eyelids grew heavy, a soft knock echoed from my bedroom door. My breath hitched. I turned to look, expecting my mother or sister. The door was open, but no one was there. A whisper drifted into the room, so faint I almost thought I imagined it. "Believe." I yanked my blanket over my head, my heart pounding so loudly I feared it would give me away. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying for the morning to come, but sleep never came, and neither did the morning, at least not for what felt like an eternity. Hours stretched on, the darkness pressing in, suffocating me. The temperature in the room plummeted, breath turning to mist. Then the bed shifted. Something was in the room with me. I couldn't move, couldn't scream. My body was frozen in sheer terror, as an invisible weight pressed against my chest. It felt as though hands, cold, clammy, unseen, were holding me down. A strangled gasp escaped my lips as my vision blurred. I felt something lean close, the air around me electric with an unnatural presence. A voice, low and guttural, hissed in my ear. "Still don't believe?" And then, just as suddenly as it began, the weight lifted, the air warmed, the pressure vanished. I sat up, gasping for breath, drenched in cold sweat. The room was empty, but the fear remained. From that night on, I never doubted again, because some things don't need belief to exist. They already do, but it didn't end there. The days that followed were filled with an overwhelming sense of being watched. Shadows flickered just beyond my sight. Objects shifted places when no one had touched them. The air carried whispers, soft, unintelligible murmurs that sent chills down my spine. One night, as I lay in bed, a rhythmic tapping sounded against my window. I lived on the second floor. My breath hitched. The tapping grew louder, more insistent. My hand trembled as I reached for my phone's flashlight and aimed it toward the window. Nothing, just darkness, a vast, empty void. Then, just as I let out a relieved sigh, the glass fogged up. 3 letters slowly appearing, as if traced by an unseen hand. "Run." The breath left my lungs. I scrambled out of bed, fumbling for the light switch. The room remained eerily silent, yet the weight of something unseen pressed against my chest. From that night forward, I no longer questioned what lurked beyond the veil. tale of the living, because whatever it was, it knew I believed now. If you enjoyed this terrifying tale, make sure to subscribe to Chilling Chatter for more stories that will haunt your thoughts long after the lights go out. Stay tuned, because the next story might just be about you.